everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jennifer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new ABH palette. This is the Nouveau palette. Interested in seeing if this is worth picking up? Just keep watching. Hey everybody, so as I said, we are trying out the ABH Nouveau palette today. I have not picked up ABH palette in quite some time. I have all the ones that I have used on my desk. So I have the Soft Glam, I have the KKW and Mario, I have the Sultry palette, Modern Renaissance, and then of course I have the Master palette by Mario, which is my favorite of all time, and probably maybe my favorite palette ever, actually, which of course they only made once and never had again. So I really liked the ABH palettes back in the day, and I remember, you know, like looking forward to the new one that was going to come out, and the formulas are good, really good actually, and the shades were beautiful, and so, but I haven't really used these palettes in forever, and I haven't picked up any new ones in quite some time. So when I saw this one, I was intrigued. I liked the color story. I liked the way it was laid out. The palettes themselves, the shadows, the pans, looked bigger. I think they are bigger than the old ones. Let me pull up an old one here. They got rid of the little space for the brush. They didn't include a brush, which I never used, so that makes sense. There are fewer shades, but the pans are bigger. Because in the older ones, you have 14 shades, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, yeah, 14 shades, and now you have 12. But each shade is a little bit bigger. I really like this color story, and I'm looking forward today to trying it out. Let's talk just a little bit about the palette, and then we'll just start swatching. So again, it's the Nouveau palette, all-in-one palette for instant effort looks, on-the-go ultra glam. There are 3 shades in here, Wisteria, Metro, and Paloma, that aren't supposed to be used around the eye. There's a warning on the back. Wisteria is the lavender. How did I get stuff on it already? Paloma and Metro. Where's Paloma? Paloma and Metro. And the warning actually says, I need a magnifying glass to see this, not intended for use around the immediate eye area. Wisteria, Metro, and Paloma. That generally, as an attorney, I can tell you, language like that is written to protect the company because it's not been FDA approved for some reason. There's some pigment in there. There's something in there that could irritate the eye area. So if you're really sensitive to things, I have very sensitive eyes. I have a problem right now on my lids, and I've had this a couple of times, I've mentioned it before, where they're like a little bit scaly. It just happens sometimes, especially in the summer. Probably allergies, but anyway, so there could be things in there that irritate your skin. To be honest, it's a way for a company to cover itself in case it does irritate your skin or your eyes. But I would say that happens with other things that they don't, like mascaras, liners. There's lots of things that can irritate your eyes, especially if your eyes are sensitive like mine. So I wouldn't stress too much about it, but I would say if you are very sensitive to things around your eye area, maybe those are shades that you would want to refrain from, or you might not even want to pick up the palette. So just putting that out there. All right, so let's swatch this. There have been a lot of people who got this early and did some comparisons to lots of different palettes. And that reminds me of is the Sydney Grace Mel Thompson collab, Tiny Marvels, which is one of my favorite palettes of all time. And there are similarities in the color story. I think there's going to be some shades that are going to look similar, but I honestly think this is just looking at it, it's more of a muted Tiny Marvels in a way, has fewer shades as well. Yeah, I'd say it's a muted Tiny Marvels. So if you like Tiny Marvels and you liked the color story, I think you're going to like this one. I think it's very pretty, but let's just go ahead and swatch it and see what we think. I will have, if I have time, comparisons up, swatches on on Instagram, which is where I generally do those things. Okay, let's start with Wings. Yep, that looks like a shade in Tiny Marbles. It's soft, goes on really well. I will say, formula's good. Isle, like the Isle of Right. Okay, again, went on well, smooth, creamy. Belle. So far, guys, these are swatching very well. They're soft, easy to go on the eye. Wisteria. Lily? Lily. Sorry, guys. Lily. I think that might be a duochrome. It's got like a shift to it. Hope. That one's very pretty. That's definitely a duochrome. You can see it's got like a gold green shift. I don't know if the camera's really picking that up, but okay, it's the first row. Then we have Paloma. Paloma is my skin shade. We have Fleur, which is a really nice peach pink kind of base. I mean, that's actually that would be nice for my eyes. Liberty. Mattes are swatching really well. And there's 2 swatches. That's like a olive green almost. We've got Peacock, very pretty, and this reminds me of another shade. I think it's in a Pat McGrath, actually. It's a blue-red. You see what I'm talking about? The shift there? There it is. Yeah, Pat McGrath, but I can't think of the name of the shade off the top of my head. Anyway, Metro, we'll put it over here. The mattes are really very nice. Okay, and then Muse, which it's black, but there's something else there in that black. It's like got a little bit of a shift to it. I'm trying to figure out what that is. Maybe it's like a little bit of a brown. So those are all the shades. They swatched really well. You think it looks quite nice, actually. I, of course, am drawn to the greens. Just gonna be honest. Okay. Now, I'm not gonna be able to use all the shades. I think by swatching, we have an idea of how this looks. So let's just go ahead and dive in and create a look and see what we think of it overall. I'm going to use the Fleur as like a starting point. This is a little deeper than my skin tone, but not much more. Okay, so we've created a transition here that is a little bit deeper than my skin tone, but not much more. I mean, it's pretty close. It's a light shade. All right, let's take the Paloma, which is the lightest shade. I'm gonna carve out the brow a little bit. I am not one who like uses concealer or anything to make my brows super sharp. You can, of course. It's just not my look or aesthetic, but basically what you do is you just take concealer or eye primer and, you know, carve the brows so that the line is a little bit more enhanced, a little sharper. Something you can absolutely do with shadow as well, like I just did. But that worked really well. I didn't have any problems with it. Smooth, went down nicely. Yeah, it's a nice matte. All right, I'm just gonna blend a little those 2 shades. Okay, 2 shades down, looks really nice. No problems thus far. Let's take the Liberty shade, which I said was kind of like an olive green. Yeah, it's going over the other matte quite well. Not having a problem with patchiness. You know, sometimes it is your brush. Like sometimes you just don't have the right brush for a product. But most of the time, you know, if you really can't get a product to work, it's probably because the product is bad. But, you know, sometimes a different brush can help. So it's always good to try a different brush, see if that helps it if you're having problems laying down products. But I'd say for like a good matte, you know, a good formula, you should be able to use basically any brush and it should at least work. It might look smoother with a different brush, but, you know. The hallmark of a really good product is it would work with kind of anything. At least that's my opinion. Okay, so, I mean, there's so many beautiful shades in here, obviously. Wings, I think, is the one that, and I'll swatch it next to Fire Butts in Tiny Marvels, that's one of my favorite shades in that. I think they're similar. Yeah, they're similar. The one in Tiny Marvels is just more. Here's Tiny Marvels, and here's the new ABH. So you can see that the hue is very similar, the color is similar, but Tiny Marvels has much more of a metallic. You see that? If you haven't picked up Sydney Grace shadows, I don't know what you're waiting for. Sydney Grace, independent brand, does amazing, amazing stuff. All right, so I don't know how they do it with like being an independent brand like that. They knock it out of the park every time. Okay, so let's take Hope, which is a little bit deeper. Very pretty. We'll do kind of a gradation. But it's laying down really well, guys. Like, I'm not having any issues. Yeah, it's really very pretty. We'll do wings here. Like, it's not like it's a metallic that isn't, you know, a luminescent shade that isn't. It is. It's very pretty. It's a nice formula. It's looking really nice on the eye. If you haven't watched me before, I'm 50 years old. And so I do have, you know, texture on my eyes. Frankly, everyone has texture on their eyes, but some of us more than others. As you get older, sometimes that can be enhanced. So, you know, it's important to me to have a shadow or shadows that don't make it worse. So this is certainly not doing that. It's very pretty. I'm going to take a little bit more of the Liberty, which was that olive green matte, just lightly just enhance the crease just a little bit, like not a lot. And if you have hooded eyes, make sure you look straight ahead of you when you do it. And so whatever it is you want to see, you can still see with your eyes open and not like this. Because that is not what will show when you relax and the skin relaxes, frankly. Everybody, you know, has a little bit of that, especially as you get older, it starts to loosen up a little bit. So just keep that in mind. I'm just going to go in and very lightly brush these shades together. I think they blended beautifully. I didn't have to do much, which is definitely the sign of a good shadow. I mean, that was easy. Errant hair here, but some eyelash. I don't know what that was. Okay, so let's take the Muse shade. That was the shade that I showed you at the end. That's like kind of black, but I don't know. There's something else to this. It's like a deep brown almost. It's very pretty. I'm really not sure. I'll see if there's a description of the shades, but yeah, I really like it. Just putting a little bit on the upper part of my lid. And then we'll take a little bit of that Wings. I do have some fallout underneath my eyes, which I will clean up. I do have complexion product on. It's not super heavy today. I'm using the Chanel Touch, which I've really enjoyed. But I do have some fallout here. I think it's mostly the Hope, a little bit of the Wings. So let me clean that up and then we'll come right back and we'll talk about the product a little bit. Okay, back with a little bit of mascara on. I have to say, guys, I really like this palette. I think it's beautiful. I don't have any liner on. I just use what you saw me put on my eyes, and all I did was put some mascara on. I think it's really stunning, really beautiful. It does remind me of the Tiny Marvels, I'm not gonna lie. But this is a really good formula and a really pretty palette. Obviously I used mostly the greens, but you know, the Wisteria shade is really beautiful with this purple, and the Metro, which has a warmer tendency, you could do a lot with this. Maybe the Metro in the Isle here. I mean, there's a lot you could play around with this palette. It's really very nice. I don't mean to sound skeptical. It's just that, like I said, I hadn't picked up an ABH palette in quite some time. So it's on Sephora right now. It's $55. There are 12 pans. Each one is 0.047 ounces. And there are some descriptions. So let's just go through them really quickly. Wings, which is this one, is a silver green with sparkling reflect. Is that right? Yep. Isle, metallic blonde gold. Belle, I'm just making sure I'm going in the right order. Belle is a metallic antique bronze. Lily is a metallic rose gold with oh, this is Lily, sorry, go over here. Belle and then Lily. Metallic rose gold with multi-dimensional reflex, yeah. Hope is metallic olive green with gold reflex. Fleur, where's Fleur? There's Fleur. Fleur is a matte golden peach. Liberty is a matte muted hunter green, which is what I have on my eyes. Peacock is a duochrome, like I said, bluish, green, brown with pink reflex. And Muse, the one that I was wondering about, it's a metallic dark chocolate brown. So that's what it is. It's not really black, but it's very dark, but it's metallic. And then the pressed pigments, the ones that they say aren't safe for your face. Wisteria, which is this purple. Matte pastel lavender with sparkling reflex. There's Paloma, which is a matte creamy ivory with sparkling reflex. And Metro, which is this one, which is a matte rich clay. So I used Paloma on my, under my brows. I used Hope on the outer corner. I used Fleur as the transition. I used Wings on the inner corner into the middle. What else did I use? Did I use Belle? No, I didn't use Belle. I feel like I used something else. My brain. Oh yeah, Muse as liner. I think it looks stunning, guys. It's really beautiful. Yeah, I really, really like this palette. The outside is interesting. It's kind of like this textured leather. I assume it's faux, but it's really pretty. And it has like this little gold bar here detail, and then, you know, the name. It's vegan. It's 12 months. Yeah, I have to say, like, I'm really surprised. I think it's a really beautiful glam palette. All right, guys, I think that's it for today. If you have any questions, put them in the, in the comment section below, and I'm happy to answer it. But yeah, I really do hope they come out with more palettes like this because it's absolutely lovely. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon.